left in the board meeting, and that's not nearly enough time. Mr. Croft has never forgotten where he came from. He came for forgotten where he came from. He came from humble beginnings, growing up on a farm in Charles County. He graduated from Charles County Public Schools and received a scholarship that enabled him to attend Johns Hopkins University, where he earned his bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. After a successful career spanning 22 years with T. Rowe Price, Mr. Croft founded Croft Leominster with his son. Mr. Croft has never forgotten the importance of the education he received in Charles County Public Schools, and he has paid us back over and over again through donations and providing opportunities for children. He has endowed 9 college tuition scholarships for Charles County Public School students, donated more than 300 laptop computers for CCPS students to use at home throughout the school year and summer. He has donated lacrosse equipment, financial instructional pamphlets, 3D printers, smart boards, and more, all for our kids. I met Mr. Croft when I was vice principal at Mount Hope Nanjemoy Elementary School, and we've continued working together for children since then. But it is this incredible story that defines Mr. Croft for me. It was a couple of years ago, and I mentioned to Mr. Croft that staff was working hard to convince a child with so much potential that he should make college a goal. The student always said he was too poor to go to college. And in terms of material wealth, this child was poor. He had 4 siblings, and Grandma was raising them. All 5 children walked more than a mile down a dirt road each day to get to school, and they came to school every day ready to learn. The family lived in the woods in a tiny house with a tarp for a roof and only thin walls to keep out the elements. When I told Mr. Croft about the family's living condition, he said, "I want to help that boy." And he visited the family. My heart sank when he called me and said he was unable to do anything with their house. Instead, he said, "I'm just going to give them a new one." And he did. Mr. Croft gave the family a beautiful home, completely renovated, furnished with a 17-year free lease. His contractor renovated it, and his secretary secured donations. A team, including teachers, teenagers, and church members, put the house together in one day. Today, if you ask the same child if he was going to college, he firmly answers yes. Mr. Croft truly makes a difference for our children. Just this past school year, I told Mr. Croft about another family with a mother and 8 children who had been living in a single hotel room for 2 years. He gave them a house too. With the help of volunteers, donations, the community furnished and decorated this house so beautifully that it could be featured on HGTV. A family who had been living in a hotel room now had a fully furnished 5-bedroom home with 3 bathrooms. Besides the school system, Mr. Croft supports dozens and dozens of organizations in Charles County. Mr. Croft sees potential in children. He believes in that potential and gives life-changing opportunities. Here are 2 families whose entire lives have been changed because of his generosity. The children are going to go on to do great things, and we will always be grateful to Mr. Croft for what he has done for them and so many of our students in Charles County Public Schools. I am honored to present Mr. Gordon Croft.
When I was in La Plata High School, I was the shyest, most bashful kid in the school. All the girls and the teachers used to tease me. Now, but they said I should say a few words today, and I'm very honored for being recognized. And out of 80 graduates at La Plata High School, about 6 of us went to college, and Charles County gave me a full scholarship to Johns Hopkins Engineering School. Therefore, I've turned out to be an engineer for a while. When dedicating Croft Hall Engineering Building, which houses nanotech engineers and biotech engineers, to me, President Daniels of Johns Hopkins emphasized that I seized the opportunities, and he made a quote from Winston Churchill in 1941, who spoke to higher school in England and said, "This is the lesson," he told them, "never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense." And my grandfather, William Croft, was admitted to higher school in England, but decided to settle in Charles County at age 16. One of the things that I'm very proud of, Dean Jones of Johns Hopkins said that Gordon taught and assisted in the creation of Educating for Leadership and Financial Strategies to engineers. The course became a basis for a new minor in entrepreneurship and management. He said 15% of all arts and science and engineering seniors earn this degree, a minor now, which is the most popular on the campus today. And he also said that Gordon is very proud of his Port Tobacco roots. They have a 40 by 40 plaque in the building, and the top half is Johns Hopkins, and the bottom half has 4 words on it, which they asked me what I wanted to put on it. And I said, never, never give up. And the I've probably given millions and millions of dollars to education in Hopkins and Charles County, but I think one of the most important, most satisfying things that I've done is what Kristen Shields just talked about, and I believe that Ellen Dobry's here had a big part in it too. Was these 2 homes that I did the small part, but I only rented them rent-free for 12 years. I didn't really give it to them. They're rent-free for 12 years so that my family can do it with some other children at that time. On that point, I would hope that there would be some other people in Charles County that would pick up on this, because Charles County has a lot of the major problems that more than their share in terms of esteem for kids, for education, for homes, and I think that they should provide more trade skills that are certified in high school. There's a lot betwixt talking about things, but being certified is what is the proof of the pudding, so they can take and transfer it to someplace. And I'm very humbled by your recognition, and thank you very much.
Oh, please, yes.
Mr. Croft, if you could come forward. I speak to Mr. Croft all the time because he has had an impact on my family's life also. Now, as a commissioner, I recognize that there is no one in the county who has had the sustained commitment to our students through money, through giving money and assistance. No one else can even come close to what you've done. But I often remind him of another story, and he just doesn't give homes and basic stuff. He has an endowment, a scholarship for Dartmouth, for an engineer. Long before I became commissioner, my daughter got that scholarship. It lasted all 4 years. Not full, but all 4 years. And not only did she have that scholarship, but she went on to get her master's from Dartmouth. And the most important thing that he did for her was he instilled in her the importance of giving back. And so she comes back to Lackey whenever she's in the country. She's a Henry E. Lackey graduate. Whenever she's back in the country, she's here in Lackey High School, making sure that she gives back. And for that, your legacy will live on forever and ever. And I so appreciate it, what you've done for me and my family and all the children on Western County and throughout the county. And I know you're a bit of a history buff, so I bought a little gift. It's a token of our appreciation from the Commissioner's Office. And these are coveted items.
It's thank you very much. Thank you very much.
If that doesn't put you in the right frame of mind for a meeting, I don't know what will. So, Dr. Hill, if you could, please.
Thank you, Mr. Luke.